You're listening to Adam Yurchick recording for TCGplayer.com. Hello, thank you for joining me. Today we're drafting Eldritch Moon, and I'm really excited to be playing with this set on Magic Online. So I'm into the first pack, let's get into it. We open a nice rare Nibelus of Frost. It's a flyer, which is nice and limited and especially hard to come by in this set. It has prowess, so that's great. It can get bigger, it's hard to block, and it's hard for the opponent to play against. And then obviously it has that great ability to tap creatures. So it's all in all fantastic. It's going to be hard for me to pass that. We do have Abundant Maw, which is a nice emerge creature, but not on the level of the Nibelus. There's also Material Geist, which would be great in a deck with the Frost. So if we could table that, or maybe one of the nice spells like Spreading Flames, Alchemist Greeting. Those are nice premium cards, though. Probably not going to come back. But happily take the Frost and move on. So we do get a nice red rare here. Impetuous Devils. So we'd like to be blue-red, so certainly need to take a serious look at that. It comes down, it can kill one of the opponent's creatures by making it block it and get in for some damage. So it's kind of like a removal spell, so it's probably worth taking here. Rise from the Grave, I don't like a lot. Nephalia's Academy isn't really a card I want to play in limited. Ruthless Disposal is certainly a fine card, but it takes some setup. I don't think it's as powerful or as a clean removal spell as the Impetuous Devils. So that's going to be the pick. I'll take that and move on. So we're past a pretty premium green uncommon in Clear Shot. Courageous Outrider is a nice uncommon that can create value if I have a lot of humans. Certainly not in blue-red, but if I end up in a white deck, that would be potentially a great card, especially to pick up early because I could build around it. In blue, there is Drag Under. It's bounces a creature and draws a card. It's great with Nibelus of Frost. It's a premium common and perfect for the blue-red style of deck, so I think I should just stay on that path and pick that up. Enlightened Maniac is playable should that come around. Convolute also has potential, so I'm going to take the Drag Under. Cool, so Court Homunculus here. That's good in the spell deck. It casts spells and it can flip. If I can fulfill its ability with spells, so I think that's going to be the pick. I could see if there's a removal spell or another premium card, but there's not. There's Otherworldly Outburst, which is a trick, and then Prophetic Ravings is a card that could potentially be playable, but definitely not on the level of the Homunculus. Insatiable Gorger could be decent if I have Madness Outlets, but I will take the Homunculus. So we have Abandoned Reason, which is a crazy trick. Don't want to play a ton of tricks necessarily in my deck. I might not have a lot of creatures because I'm going to have a decent number of spells, but Abandoned Reason is a perfect spell to play. Even without Madness, it's just a great trick. And if I do get some Madness Outlets, which is likely to happen, then it's going to be really good. So I think I have to take that. There's also Haunted Dead, which is a premium uncommon, one of the better ones to play with. Could be a signal that black is open, and I should take that. There hasn't been a ton of red coming around, just the Devils. I also passed a lot of red, so it could be heavily taken. So I think I'm going to take the Haunted Dead just because it is so good. Blood Mist, that's a powerful card. So is Unsubstantiate. It's a bounce spell, which in limited tends to be worth a slot. And Unsubstantiate can hit a spell, so it has a lot of other value. There's also another Drag Under. Unsubstantiate is great because of its value in combat and against spells. It's an instant, it's cheaper. On the other hand, Drag Under draws a card, which is awesome. I think I'm actually just going to take that. Yeah, in limited, I like drawing cards. This deck wants to keep cards going for prowess, so I'm just going to take the Drag Under and be happy about it. And then here's an awesome pickup in Vexing Scuttler. I can use that to return my value spells. So more value. This is the kind of magic that's going on in the Eldritch Moon, so I'm going to set myself up for that. Happily take that. No indication really that other colors are open. Spectral Reserves is definitely playable. Flyers are hard to come by. Wow, so another blue emerge creature. This is fantastic. I'm going to pick this up. So certainly I need to prioritize creatures to sacrifice. Take inventory. Could be useful, especially if I pick up some more. It's not a card I want to prioritize, but here it is. I think that it's better than Stensia Innkeeper, which just doesn't really get it done for me. It is good with Emerge, however, but the ability's weak, and 4-drops need to be really good. There's a lot available in the next set, in the third pack, rather. So I'm going to take inventory on the chance that I pick up a couple more. And then Make Mischief could be the perfect spell. It creates value. So I'll take that. It's also a good sideboard card. Prey Upon is really high power and high quality to be around this late. Don't think that I'm going to end up in green, however. So I'll take the Make Mischief, but there's some argument to taking the Prey Upon there. And then picking up some green creatures, which should be good with the Merge. I'll just take the Convolute. Not that I'm necessarily going to play it. So none of these are really playable. I'll take the Crop Sigil. So Emmerkrill's Influence could be cool with my Emerge creatures, but I think if I'm casting those, I should be in good shape to win the game anyway. So I'm feeling great about the first pack. Definitely in a strong blue base, and then I can go into really whatever direction I want to go. I don't think I'm really red by any means. I'm not black. And I'm just really open to take anything depending what comes. So here we are. Lashweed Lurker is fantastic. I would obviously have to be in green to use it. I also already have a lot of Emerge creatures, so I don't necessarily need to have a ton of them. It is, however, very, very powerful card. I'm going to try to stay in blue if I can. Tattered Haunter is the option. There's also the Outcast if I want to stay in red. And then there's also Selfless Spirit, which not necessarily going to be in white, though it could be a good pairing for blue. So I can either go into green or white or to stay in blue, and I'm just going to take the blue card because I do need things to sacrifice, and it's a nice aggressive early play, and flyers are hard to come by. Wow, so I'm past Faith Unbroken, which is extremely potent card. It's a removal spell, and it buffs a creature. I don't have a lot of creatures, though, and I have removal spells for creatures with Drag Under, so I don't think that's a pick for me. There's News Constrictor, which It's fantastic. If I had picked up that emerged creature, I could take the Constrictor here. And there's also Extricator of Sin, which is great fodder for emerged creatures and its source of value. And there's also just Exalted Cultist, which is a nice creature on curve, creates value, and is good to emerge. And there's another Drag Under. So I think it's between the Cultist and the Drag Under, and I really don't have a problem with just taking another Drag Under and just bouncing everything. So that's what I'm going to do. Here's another Tattered Haunter, so that's perfect. Haunter on 2, then Drag Under for days. I'm going to take that. Fortune's Favor can create value, but I don't think I need it. And then Geist-Fueled Scarecrow is actually really powerful, especially if I don't have a ton of creatures. But it's kind of awkward with Emerge, because I want to make those cheaper, and they're already going to be hard to cast. So I'm just going to take the Haunter happily. Maybe I'll table something. It's going to stay very aggressive. And I could have moved into white there, or moved into green, move into another color. And it's possible that was correct, but I think that staying with the solid blue playables is the way to go. So here, I'm not really going to be able to take a blue card. Fogwalker is just not powerful enough for me. So I think I'm going to take the Weaver of Lightning, which is fantastic with all of my spells, and would enable some red cards that I already have. Red was the plan to begin with, so I'm just going to stay with that and pick it up because it is so good. Another Lashweed Lurker. But there's a Galvanic Bombardment, which is just a shock, and definitely what my deck is looking for. So I will just pick that up. There's also the red 5-drop, which I could pick up, but it's not on the level of the Bombardment. And especially with the Weaver of Lightning now, I want to prioritize spells, and I don't think I'm going to be without ways to win the game. Wow, a third Lashweed Lurker. So that card's great, but Advanced Stitchwing is one of the best uncommons in the set. I think Air Elemental is always awesome, and this card just sacrifices a point of power for the ability to come back from the graveyard. So this is fantastic, absolutely awesome. I could even sacrifice it to enable Emerge and get it back. There's also an Ingenious Scab, which I would take if this Stitchwing wasn't in the pack. Sweet, a removal spell. That's going to be the pick for me. Cultist Staff, I'm passing and I've seen, but I'm not really going to want equipment in this deck, though it could be decent with the Haunter. But I'll pick up the Greeting. So looking great. I have plenty of playables going into the last pack. There's a Harmless Offering. I'm not going to be able to put that to use. There's a Borrowed Hostility, which I don't think is good in my deck because I don't have a lot of creatures and I have plenty of ways to get them through. So I'll pick up Brazen Wolves. That's actually the perfect threat for me because I'm so good at clearing out blockers, so I can hit for a lot of damage and take out my opponent quickly. So that's really the perfect threat for me, and I'll probably play that. So the Lurker comes all the way back. I'm just going to pick up a red 2-drop. Just help support the bottom of my curve. Fill it in. Even if I don't play it main deck, it could be a good sideboard card against aggressive decks. So I have a blocker. So I'll just take this Thraven Standard Bearer out. I think it's one of the better cards and kind of annoying for my deck to play against. There's also Borrowed Grace. I suppose that's better. So I'll take that. Craft Harvest. Now that's really hard for my deck to beat. And it's really powerful. So I think that's better than Display, so I'll just cut that out of the draft. So now I'm looking for premium creatures, looking to upgrade some of my cards like Convolute and Falcon Wrath Reaver. Take Morn Willow out of the draft. Also, this Haunted Dead's clearly not going to make the cut, so I'll put that in the board. And Convolute, hopefully not going to play, so I'll put that in the board. It's definitely perfectly playable, though. A card I tend to like in Limited. But I'd rather have it in the board if I can get better cards. I'd rather have threats, because I do have so much removal. So here we are, we have Manic Scribe. That could give my deck an alternative way to win. I don't know how good I am at getting Delirium. I have Instance. I have Sorcery. I have Creature. I don't really want to work hard to turn on Delirium with other cards, so I think I'm just going to let that one go. There's Reckless Scholar, which would be a good card for my deck. It's not a fantastic card, but my deck would put it to good use. I could get rid of extra lands. There's also a Storm Rider Spirit, which is a perfect win condition for me, and flyers are really good. I'm going to take the Scholar, though, because it could enable Madness, and a Looter is perfect for my deck, and not going to let this one get away. Gaia Reach Bandit. Just a high-quality red card. And also, Werewolves play really well with Instance, which I have a few of. There's also Nibelus of Dusk, which could potentially be better because it has Prowess, which works well with my deck, and it has Flying, which is on plan. And I can't really take advantage of the ability to transform my creatures because I don't really have any others. So it's just a 3/2 haste for 3. I think that actually the Nibelus is just better in my deck. I don't really have as many instances as I initially thought because Drag Under is not repulsed to sorcery, so it really is just the bombardment. So yeah, I'll take the Nibelus. I'm happy about that pick. Woodland Stream, definitely lands are really high picks, but I can't use that one. Kindly Stranger is crazy good black card, but I'm not going to get Delirium going. But if I wanted to and my deck was hurting, I could take Stranger and splash it along with the Haunted Dead, and then enable Delirium with something like Explosive Apparatus, but not going to be necessary here. Sanguinary Mage is perfect, and that will replace the Falcon Wrath Reaver. Prowess is definitely what I want, and I think the 1/3 is just better than the 2/2 in general as a blocker, though my deck is more aggressive anyway. So this card's perfect. Take that. Reaver's out. Magmatic Chasm I don't need. Seagraph Scab, there's a 1/3, so I could have picked that up and played that instead of the Reaver. Especially because it would be easier to cast. I could have more blue mana. But as it is, I guess I could take Deny Existence for the board. None of these are really useful. Or I could just cut off Biting Rain. I could take Haunted Cloak. It's not really going to work in my deck, though. So I'll just take Biting Rain. And then here's Thalia's Lieutenant really late. Wow. That's cool. Doesn't do anything for me. There's Convicted Killer, which is just a decent 3-drop. And then there's Pieces of the Puzzle, which I don't really love, even with a lot of spells. I just don't want to spend mana to do nothing. And then there's Tormenting Voice, which I think is just good because it's a spell and is another 2-mana option. Catalog's not going to cut it. Stitch Mangler is fine. Don't really need the ability, though, because I have ways to get blockers out. Uncaged Fury, Could be pretty good because it's a spell and could be a finisher, even though I don't really want a trick. Could be useful. Suppose I'll just take this, but I'm going to put it in the board for now. Dissension in the ranks I just don't need because I have ways to get through. Gas Staff Aristocrats, though, is just a nice 5-drop, and I can transform it. Becomes even better. I think that's better than the Snapper because it's cheaper. So I'll take that, and I'm going to play it as a threat. It'll be good. Wow, Sanguinary Mage. The last moment. I'm so happy about that. That completes my deck. Howlpack Wolf. Not going to be good for me. I'll take Spectral Shepherd and put it in the board. And I'll take Altered Ego. No, wow, Graph Mole. I'll take that out. Wow, Graph Mole and Veteran Cathar. 2 of the premium uncommons in the format. Graph Mole is going to make the cut in any green deck, whereas the Cathar, maybe they won't play because they're not green-white. So I'll take the Mole, cut that, and then pass the card that hopefully just won't be played anyway. And just take Intrepid Provisioner. Doesn't matter. Seagraph Scab just in case. Haunted Cloak really is not going to do anything for me. And then Convicted Killer is probably better than Deny Existence because I already have a Convolute. And then Evasive Surgery. Not relevant. So here we are, 23. It's probably fine. But I think I just want 18 land because I have some powerful stuff, and I have Drag Under, Reckless Scholar, and Tormenting Voice, and some expensive cards. So I'll just take a card out. Make Mischief, probably the weakest card, so I'll put that on the board. Otherwise, I like what I'm looking at. Take Inventory is actually no good. I don't have any more. I don't want that. It does just cycle and pumps Prowess, but I don't think that's good enough in general. Maybe with Weaver of Lightning it actually is. Let's look at the board. I have a 2-drop. Uncaged Fury, I think that has to make a cut. It can help close out the game, and it's good with Prowess. So I'll put that in there. Then I could just put in the lands. 9/9 is what I like. I like to split it if possible. And I have a red and a blue on 4, so that works out. I have 2 blue 2-drops, or actually 3 blue 2-drops, 3 blue 2-drops, 3 blue 3 red, and 9/9 is good for that as well. So I'm loving the look of this deck. I'm really happy with it. I'm going to take a look with the creatures and spells separately. So there it is, a nice curve. Very aggressive. I have some flyers. I have good blockers. Weaver of Lightning is also just an awesome blocker with 4 toughness. There's really not a lot of 4 powered attackers or great 4 toughness defenders, and Weaver of Lightning does it cheap. It has reach for the reason of lightning, which is cool, but typically do not see a lot of red reach creatures, so that's awesome as well. It helps take out flyers. So it's really just a fantastic Horn Turtle. Even that alone, it would be a playable card in some decks. Probably this deck. And with the ability, it just becomes crazy. And when I run out of spells, I could just cash it in and cast Drownyard Behemoth or Vexing Scuttler, and then close out the game. So this looks sweet. I'm going to submit this. Thank you for watching, and please join me for round 1.